was outside again counting birds, and Mama plugged in a nightlight.
Welcome to the Golden Hour Birth Podcast. I am your co-host, Liz.
And I'm your co-host, Natalie. And tonight we have Lindsey on, who is a friend of a friend. And she's going to be sharing her birth story with her son and a little bit more about her and her family. Lindsey, thanks so much for coming on tonight.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
So if you want to go ahead and tell us a little bit about you and your husband, and we can go from there.
Yeah. So my husband, Josh, we've been together for 15 years. We met in high school. So we are kind of like high school sweethearts. We got married in 2017. So we've been married for 5 years now. You know, kid, we always knew we wanted to have a family. I have 2 siblings. My husband has 3 siblings. So we kind of always knew we wanted to have a lot of kids. So, and I guess 2 years after we got married, we decided we would start trying for kids. He wanted to try a lot sooner, but I was kind of on the fence about it. So we waited a little bit. So then about 2 years after that, we started to try and we got pregnant, I think maybe like on the second try. And unfortunately, we had a miscarriage. We went to the doctor at like our 8-week checkups and there was no heartbeat. And there was like a really bad snowstorm that night. And I started bleeding a lot. So then the next day I had to go to the hospital and I had to have an emergency D&C.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, that is tough.
Yeah.
So, and then after that, we wanted to try again, obviously. It took us about 6 months after that to get pregnant again. And so that was in January when we first got pregnant. And then in July, we got pregnant again. And then that pregnancy, same thing, we ended up having another miscarriage. That one, we also had to have a D&C with that one. So that was tough, yeah. And then...
Can I ask a question? Sorry.
Yeah, sure.
How long after does it take to like kind of heal, and then can you start trying again?
Yeah, usually you have to wait until you get your next period. And usually after a D&C, it takes about 6 weeks to get your next period. It's like the average, and usually both times mine came back in about 6 weeks, and then we just started trying again. So after my second miscarriage, we were like, okay, something clearly is wrong. It's not one miscarriage is common, but 2 in a row usually isn't.
Yeah.
So we got referred to a fertility specialist. So we made an appointment with them. We went the first time, they went over our options, what we could do. We did tonic testing to try to figure out why I was having all the miscarriages, and everything just came back normal. It's kind of like in that situation, you want something to come back wrong, just to have an answer. So unfortunately, everything came back normal, so there was no explanation. So then that was like September, we went there. And the first thing we tried was just like a medicated cycle to induce ovulation, because I had always kind of had like ovulation issues. My period was just, I had that one every month, but I wasn't always ovulating on the same day every month. So they wanted to try that first. So we tried that and got lucky, and that worked the first time. So we were thrilled about that.
Yeah.
And so I went in and I got blood work done to make sure like my betas were rising. We supposed to double every 24 hours or every 48 hours, sure. And they were good. So we finally got to go to our first ultrasound, and we found out that I was pregnant with triplets. Yes.
What?
Yes. It was like the one appointment my husband could not make it with me. So
No.
Oh,
yes,
gosh.
so I was there alone, and
Oh,
that I was pregnant with triplets, and I just almost had a heart attack. It was
Oh,
terrifying. So
How did you tell your husband?
Did you
I
call
was
him?
just like in shock. I like walked out of the appointment and I was like, "You're not gonna." I texted him. I'm like, "You have to call me right now. You're not gonna believe this." And he seriously didn't believe me. He was joking. I'm like, why would I joke about this? I'm dead serious. Dead serious. So, yeah, so we were, okay, well, I'm just going to have to make this work somehow. You know, it's a blessing. Like, we lost, you know, their 2 other babies, and that was very incredible. So we got referred to a high-risk doctor, maternal fetal medicine. And our first appointment there, our first ultrasound, we found out that we had lost to so I was pregnant with a set of twins and then one single baby, which is my son. So we lost the twins, but my son, luckily, you know, we carried him to term and we had a healthy pregnancy with him. So that was great.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, like, what did you have to like do anything with the twins?
Nope. So they said just over time they would, you know, just kind of just, you know, evaporate, I guess. I don't know
Okay.
if that's the proper term, but yeah, they would just over time, you know, go away. And when my son got like bigger, I guess it was around like 10 weeks that I found out I
Okay.
had lost them. So yeah, just as my son grew bigger and bigger, they just kind of, you know, went away on their own. So luckily there was no intervention or anything needed like that.
That's amazing how like our bodies can do that.
Yeah.
Because you said the first one you had an emergency DNC, and then that one, it like your body just knew. I don't know. It's kind of incredible.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah. We had a lot of talk, like when we first found out, a lot of people wanted us to reduce the pregnancy to just a singleton, which, you know, obviously we didn't have to make that choice, which would have been a very hard choice to make. But yeah, we were urged strongly to reduce to just one.
Just because of the risks.
Yeah, just because of the risk. Yeah.
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 So how was your pregnancy? How did it move along from there?
It was pretty uneventful. Like, only thing I just had like crippling anxiety my entire pregnancy. I was just terrified every day that I was going to lose my son.
Yeah.
Every time I went to the bathroom, I was just like braced myself for bleeding. Like, I just like every single day I thought this is going to be the last day I'll be pregnant. Every day I woke up and I was just terrified. You know, I talked to my doctor about that and she was going to put me on some anxiety medication, but ultimately we decided not to do that. In the beginning, I would use one of those Dopplers and record his heartbeat, and that kind of helped a lot, being able to hear that. And after that, once I could start feeling him moving, it kind of made me feel a lot better.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so uneventful pregnancy for the most part. Towards the end of my pregnancy, around like 36 weeks, I started to have high blood pressure, a couple high blood pressure readings. So I had to go in a couple times to be monitored for that. And then I guess it was like my 36 weeks, like in the middle of the week, I was in the hospital one day being monitored, and one of the doctors on call came on and they were like, yeah, so we usually induce at 37 weeks for high blood pressure. And I was like, oh my gosh, next week. I was just shocked. And my birthday was 3 days before that. So I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to have such close first thing. Crazy.
Yeah, that's
So
not
yeah,
like
then,
common knowledge
yeah, no, I
for
had
most
no
people.
idea.
Yeah,
Right.
I didn't either until I asked, and they were like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. Yeah, it just makes you like surprised, especially when it's like the next week. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you still seeing the like high risk, or did you go back to your original?
So I saw maternal fetal medicine my entire pregnancy, just because of the nature of my pregnancy. So I was monitored a lot with them. Luckily, I got like a lot of ultrasound. And towards the end of my pregnancy, I went in for stress test, non-stress tests twice a week. So yeah, and then towards the end, I started to have the high blood pressure. I never had preeclampsia, just hypertension. So yeah, at 37 weeks then, I went in to be induced. It was a Saturday. And we went in at 8 o'clock in the morning. By 10 o'clock, after, we finally got all checked out, got the ball rolling. That's when we started to do like potential. And I had a Foley bulb catheter put in to dilate more. I think I was at like 1 centimeter when I went in. Then I had that in for a little bit. And then I think before I got it put in, actually, they were like, if you're going to get an epidural, you might as well do it now because this hurts really bad to put in. So I was like, okay, go for it. No point in waiting then. Okay. So I got my epidural pretty quickly before I started to feel a lot of contractions. So that was great. So for most of the day, I just kind of waited for that. I think it took a couple hours. And then I was dilated 4 or 5. And then they broke my bladder after that. And then things kind of progressed quite quickly. After my water broke, I had a peanut ball that I switched position. Yeah, for a while.
Yeah.
That worked perfect. So
I know.
yes, those are great. So great. And then I started to get really itchy from the epidural. So they gave me a Benadryl. And after that, I was just like, I literally could not keep my eyes open. I was so tired.
My God.
I was like, I don't know how I'm going to push when the time comes. I am so tired. I'll definitely never take the Benadryl again because I was like, it was nice to sleep and not be in pain. But
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know how I'm going to push. Like, I'm so tired. I could barely keep my eyes open. But then when the time came, she said, all right, it's time. Like, my adrenaline kicked in and I was like, okay, gotta do it. So I pushed for about like 45 minutes. At this time, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. So I pushed for about 45 minutes and my son came out and it was incredible. I was so happy that he was there. And then we'll put him on my chest. He was only on my chest for about 30 minutes before he started to have some trouble breathing. So they took him away and they were checking him out. And he was making like grunting noises, which they said are not good. So he had to be taken to the NICU after about 30 minutes. So that was tough. My husband was with him for a little bit. At this point, I was still in the bed and I was starting to hemorrhage. So things just kind of went south after the delivery.
Yeah.
So yeah, they could not get me to stop bleeding. So, but finally they got under control and they were able to put like some packing in. And then,
Had you delivered your placenta?
I
already?
think so. Yeah, I think so. It was after that they like could not get the bleeding under control.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, but they did eventually. And it was okay. I had to have a catheter in for another day just while they had all the like, the packing is what they called it, like gauze, I guess.
Yeah.
To try to control the bleeding. So yeah, after that, I had a catheter in until the next day. They took it out. And then I was just, normal postpartum.
Able to walk around with the catheter or are you?
I think I was. I didn't have it in too long because I gave birth at 3 a.m. and then I think they took it out like mid-afternoon the next day. So it wasn't terrible. I was sleeping most of the time anyway. My son was in the NICU. So then the next morning, we got to see him. It was kind of sad, like with COVID and everything. We weren't able to go see him together. We could only go one at a time. Yeah, it was very hard.
Yeah.
Seeing him like hooked up to all the monitors and with the breathing masks on.
Yeah. Did they ever figure out what happened or was it just...
No, I don't know if it was, he was delivered a few weeks early. Like it's called early term. So he wasn't technically a preemie or anything.
Yeah.
So they just said, it just happens to some newborns. They just need a little help breathing.
Yeah.
But so I think we were in the hospital for 3 days. And the whole time we were there, he was in the NICU. And then the last day I was going to be discharged and I was like, I don't want to leave him here. That's so tough. But the last day he actually started to breathe fine and he was eating good and everything. We had decided to switch to add in some formula so that he could get, the proper amount of food they wanted him to eat before he could be discharged. So the 3rd day when we were going to go home, he got to come in our room for an hour and they were like, okay, you guys are good to go. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't been with him for 3 days. Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it was like a crash course from all the nurses for an hour.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got to take him home that day. So luckily he didn't have to stay there without us.
When was
Really happy about
this?
that.
Like what month of 2020?
July 2020.
Okay. So
But
yeah. Very still
crying,
much
panting,
COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
When your baby is in the NICU, how often do they like update you on?
So I do live at Barnes, and it's very much like a teaching hospital. So it's kind of like you have to wait for like all the residents to round in the morning. So I would try to go in there to talk to whoever I could to get an answer, because really you can only get answers from the nurses help, but
Yeah.
the residents
you
are
have
the
to
ones who
like
update.
go into the NICU to,
Yeah.
they don't come and tell you like,
No.
here's what's happening. No.
Yeah. No. Theirs is luckily very close, so it wasn't like I was having to walk over to
Yeah.
children's or anything. So yeah, I would just go in there, and when they were doing their rounds, you just kind of listen, and they, they all just kind of reassured me that this just happens sometimes, that you should be fine eventually. So at that time, I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. After everything I've been through, like all my
Yeah.
anxiety, of course, this would happen.
Yeah.
I was kind of beating myself up. Oh, did I cause this? And everything had hypertension and everything. But, now I know that it's just something that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How were you feeling physically after the hemorrhage? Did you have to get blood or anything?
No, luckily it wasn't that bad. So I didn't have to get blood, or they did a bunch of tests to make sure wouldn't need blood or anything. So luckily they got that under control. So I was okay. I just had, normal postpartum pain.
Yeah. Was it hard to walk around or anything after that?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I had like second-degree tear, so pretty hard to walk around.
Yeah. So did he have to pass a car seat test?
Yeah, I think so. Car seat and hearing and all that.
So then how was it getting home, and how were you?
Getting home. So after all that, I was still, I just thought once I delivered, everything was going to be good. All my anxiety was going to go away since he was here. But then I just had like awful postpartum anxiety. Like I could barely shut my eyes to sleep because I was just like petrified that he was going to suffocate it somehow or die from SIDS. And it was really rough there for a week or two.
Yeah.
I was not getting any sleep just because I was just so scared that even if my husband was like during a beating at night, that something was going to happen if I was asleep. So it was very tough there for a week. I went in for an earlier than 6 week postpartum check just because of like the hemorrhaging I had and everything. So I brought it up to my doctor then, and I did get put on medication. So that helped a lot.
That's
after
good.
that.
Good.
Yeah. So as the weeks went on, I kind of got a little more mellowed out and not so nervous about everything, and got into a good groove. So I was very happy that I was able to get on that medication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But these are the things that like are constantly going on in our head.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The safe sleep and SIDS is so tough because they really drill it into you. Like, this is a real thing and this can happen and that can happen. And then like when you really read the like true statistics, if you're following like all the safe sleep guidelines, like the risk of SIDS is actually really low. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just like everything. It's don't do this, don't do that. Like it causes SIDS, and oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. So overwhelming at first,
Yeah. And then something we used got recalled.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, it's hard.
It seems like every baby item is coming recalled,
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you use? Or like, it's only safe to put him in the crib, I guess.
Yeah.
But he was like pretty much thriving from there.
Yeah, he was thriving. We ended up, he was in the NICU, so we had a lot of trouble with him latching, with breastfeeding. And then with all my anxiety and everything, we just decided I just could not do the pumping. Even in the hospital, I was waking up at like in the middle of the night to do a pump session.
Yeah.
So then ultimately we just decided to switch to all formula. And he did great on that and didn't have any problems. And, it helps with my mental health to switch to that. I felt really guilty about it at first, but after a few weeks, I was like, this is best for him. Well, that is best. long as she's doing okay, that's all that matters.
For sure.
Yeah. That's our episode that we're putting out this week.
Oh, really?
About fed is best. Yeah.
Yes.
Our mini. Yeah. Pumping is like a full-time job too.
Right, it really
No
is.
joke.
It's awful. And then, especially if you're waking up to feed the baby, and then you also have to pump, like, it really is a full-time job. It's exhaustion.
Yeah. That is so hard. And then even if you don't have a pump or a wearable pump bra, then you'd have to hold that. And like, how do you feed the baby? You don't feed the baby.
Right.
And then they're just screaming, which probably induces more anxiety.
Yes, exactly.
Suspicious.
Yeah. Luckily, I had brought a pumping bra to the hospital.
That's good.
Because I didn't even think like I would have to pump there. It didn't even cross my mind. But for some reason, I threw one in there. So we're very happy that I did that.
Yeah.
I ended up having to pump the whole time.
So if you want to go into, kind of what's going on now, but I also want you to like feel safe to share whatever you feel comfortable. I don't want.
Sure. So we decided to start trying for another baby when my son was only 6 months old, just because we knew it took a while the first time and we had all the miscarriages. So we were like, well, let's just try, and see what happens. So we started when he was 6 months old. So that was in like January of 2021. So we tried for about 9 months. I think it was like so November of 2021 that we had no luck. So I decided to just go to a regular OB, just get checked out, just to make sure my hormones were in check, after I'd given birth. I wasn't sure if anything had changed. So she ran some tests and everything came back normal again. So we decided to just do a medicated cycle again with letrozole, which is what worked when I got pregnant with my son with the triplet pregnancy. So we decided to just try that first. And I did end up getting pregnant the first month on that, but I did end up having a chemical pregnancy. So after that, we did a couple more months of the medicated cycles with letrozole and didn't have any luck with those. I think we did February, March, like 5 more cycles before we decided to go back to the fertility clinic in March. So March of 2022, we went there, met with the doctor, and we decided we would start with doing IUI first. So we did 3 IUIs, so March, April, and May, and all 3 of those were unsuccessful. So after that, we decided we were going to move on to IVF. So this past July 2022, we decided to start with IVF. I had my egg retrieval in August, and we got really good results from that. I had 29 eggs retrieved. I think 25 were mature, 24 were fertilized, and then 15 grew to blastocysts. And then we decided to do genetic testing just because I have a history of miscarriage, recurrent loss. So we had 11 embryos come back to normal. So that was incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had really good results with that, luckily. So that was in August. And then we transferred our first embryo this past October. And unfortunately, that did not work. We had a failed frozen embryo transfer. So we still have 10 embryos left. And we are hopefully going to transfer another one this month. Just kind of ready for my body to do what it needs to do.
Yeah.
And we will hopefully transfer another one this month. And hopefully that'll work. That's where we're at in that journey right now.
How long do you have to wait between the failed to transferring again?
Usually you can start like the next cycle, but we actually ended up having to switch clinics due to like insurance reasons. My insurance wouldn't cover the last clinic we were at. We had to switch to a new clinic so that we had to get all our embryos transferred there and everything. So that's why there was kind of a lag.
And you just love insurance.
Yeah.
Healthcare system.
Really. Yeah. it was such a pain transferring our embryos and everything. But luckily, they're all at the new clinic now, and everything should be rolling there. But yeah, we were going to transfer in December if we would have stayed at our last clinic, but because we had to move everything around, we had to wait another month, which kind of worked out. I didn't really want to transfer in December, and but it ruined my Christmas and everything.
Yeah.
Wanted to be able to just enjoy it with my son. I would have been excited the whole month if the transfer had failed again. So kind of a blessing more. Wait until the new year.
Very true.
I don't really know much about IVF. Do you have to take shots leading up to a transfer, or is that?
So for a transfer, there's different ones. So we are doing a medicated transfer. Some people do modified like natural transfer. That's kind of where you go with like your normal like period and ovulation and that. But since I have like ovulatory issues and I don't always ovulate at the same time, my doctor didn't think that was a good choice for me. So I'm doing a medicated cycle. So you just take estrogen 3 times a day. And then you do that for about 2 weeks. And then you go in to have your lining checked. And it has to be a certain thickness. And there's a certain pattern they want it to be before you can do the transfer. So leading up to the transfer, after the lining appointment, if it's good, you do have to do the progesterone injection. So those are like those massive needles that you have to shoot like in your butt. And they're terrible. And you have to do them for 6 days leading up to the transfer. And then if you are pregnant, you have to continue them until 12 weeks of pregnancy, or maybe even longer than that.
Yeah. I'm watching like a surrogacy journey on Instagram right now. And she was just like celebrating not taking any more progesterone.
They are rough.
Is estrogen by mouth or?
Yeah. So I was on pills, but I went in last week for my lining check and it wasn't as thick as they would like it to be. So they started me on estrogen patches as well. So I go back in on Friday actually to check if those have helped. So fingers crossed, they did a job.
Yeah. I'm sending you the best wishes and all the baby dust.
Thank you so much.
How's your mental health through all this?
Not great. I try to be, for my son. I don't want to be sad all the time and upset about it, but it is tough.
Yeah. I just feel like it is so much energy and time. Like
it really is. It's just, it takes over your whole life and everything is planned around it. Oh, I might be pregnant in so many months. I can't plan this right now. Like it really affects more than your brain.
Yeah.
Like every aspect of your life. It's, I can't do this. We can't plan this vacation, because we might need to do another run of IVF. We might not have the money, or I might be, so many months pregnant at this time. So yeah, it's very tough. It really does affect more than you would think.
Have you ever gotten any, that you said that everything came back normal when you were tested, but have you ever gotten any answers on like the miscarriages?
Nope. Everything. It's just we have unexplained infertility and recurrent pregnancy loss. Never had anything come back on the test. My husband and I we both had genetic testing done. We had to call karyotyping genetic testing, and they test you for, I think it's like over 200 things that you could be carriers for. And if you have it and your husband has it, then your baby has a 25% chance of getting whatever it is you're a carrier for. But I was a carrier for 3 different things, but luckily my husband wasn't a carrier for anything. So they ruled that out. That wasn't the issue. So everything's just unexplained. Very frustrating.
That's definitely frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you're healthy, but
healthy, but you're not.
Like,
entire.
Yeah, like you said, it's frustrating not to know.
One of those things where you want something wrong to come up so you can fix it.
Would there be any advice for moms, like moms who already have children that are going through IVF? Would you have any advice for them?
I would just say just find a good support group. It's very isolating. I know it's hard to see your other friends and people have more kids. You always dreamed of, this life you're going to create, and it's not going the way you thought it would. My best advice would just be to have support and, let people know what you're going through. It can be hard to talk about, but it's good to have people know what you're going for so that they can support you.
You're truly not alone.
Yeah.
So many women I see that, have shared like stories on like Instagram or Facebook, and I'm just like, it's common. And
yeah, it's so nice to see like other people going through it, because you always think like you're alone. So that's why I try to share stuff on social media and stuff, just to know that other people know that they're not alone if they're going through it, like silently. That they can always reach out and talk about anything.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because that's what really helped me is, finding other women going through it on Instagram or TikTok. You follow a bunch of people on there going through it too. So it's really nice to, even though they're strangers on the internet, just to know that there's other people going through it.
Yeah. It's such there's like bullies on TikTok and stuff, but the support I've seen from people on like various, different topics is just like incredible.
Yeah.
Like some of the communities on there are so tight knit, and I've learned a lot, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like more times than not, like people want the best for other people. Like Lindsey, we're just meeting right now over Zoom, but I want the best for you. And it just sucks that there's like people who want to ruin it and rain on your parade.
Yeah. I've had people tell me like, well, your loved one's married, and it's like, yeah, that's amazing, but I want more than one thing. I always envision my mind with more kids, and I want my friend to have a sibling. I grew up with siblings, so thankfully I do have one kid, but I would love to have more. So,
and that like at least statement.
Yeah.
Okay, I got that, but this is what I want, and I'm going to make it happen.
Right.
Yeah. It's like dismissive of your actual feelings. Like,
right. Like just saying, I'm sorry you're going through that. Move on. That was better than saying at least you have one kid already.
Liz and I actually just attended like a woman's circle on Friday, and it was just, saying goodbye, making sense of 2022 and like what we're hoping for in 2023, and really cathartic experience. And I know that she is actually doing like a woman's circle for like miscarriage and like pregnancy support. And I just wanted to kind of pass that along if you were ever interested in something like that.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yes. Pregnancy and infant loss women's circle.
Oh, great. Yeah.
For miscarriage mamas, IVF journey mamas, stillborn mamas, mamas who lost multiple, infant lost mamas. Yeah, we'll pass on the information.
Okay, cool. That'll be great.
Yeah. Well, thank you so very much for sharing your story. You're doing amazing, and I'm really hoping that this is your month.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah. Sending all the baby sprinkles.
Yes, I will definitely keep you guys updated.
And we can add your socials to our show notes, so that way people can connect with you throughout, your journey, and maybe their journey too, if they need someone like you for support.
Yeah, that's great.
Sure. Thank you so much for listening this week. We'll be back next week with another episode. Rate and review us if you want. Follow us on social, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.